Redecorating your whole home or a whole room, you gotta check out Paragould. Paragould is the destination for luxury home. They have the largest ever selection of design's best brands. They make it easy, inspiring, and convenient to shop everywhere. Each week for new episodes on Amazon Music, and whether it was even still there. At the end of last year, when rebel fighters toppled the Assad regime, we heard from so many of you asking for updates on the story and on Shadi Martini, the story's main character. Well, listen to this big news. We have a brand new update to share with you, including Shadi's first visit back to Aleppo since he went into exile more than a decade ago. We'll have that new update for you next week, but ahead of that, we're resharing his two-part story. If you're a newer listener, this will catch you up. If you're a long-time listener, I hope you'll appreciate hearing the story again. We'll share part 2 this Friday, and then the new update next Monday. Here's part 1. In 2003, Adam Davidson and Jen Van Murray were living in Baghdad. They were working as reporters covering the Iraq War, and they were falling in love.
Early on, it was sort of, as was common at the time, it was like two journalists hooking up in a war zone, and it wasn't entirely clear this was going to be a long-term thing. And in fact, at some points we thought, oh boy, this is not going to last the afternoon. And then
I think I thought that this morning. Wait, how long have we been together now?
We've been together a long time.
Yeah.
And you didn't think that this morning.
No, I didn't. I'm in for the long haul.
When it was around, like, heading into December of 03, it was, I think, clear to us, like, oh, this is a really, like we're a real couple. This is, like, not just a wartime thing. And we took this vacation.
Adam and Jen went to Aleppo in Syria. Now today, Aleppo is a symbol of the devastation of the Syrian civil war. But this was before that, back when you might actually go to Aleppo on vacation. A friend put them in touch with a local photographer named Issa Tuma. And Issa said, while you're here, you have to go to this sandwich shop.
People are walking in and they see us and they're like, you're here for the sandwich. And Issa, like, pretty quickly is like, yeah, they've never had it before.
Right.
This is their first time. And there's, like, an excitement. This was a pilgrimage spot. Sort of looked like a pizza place more than a deli in a New York context. Like, there's a long counter with glass displays looking at all the stuff. The thing that stuck out at me was there was a tray of sheep brains.
I mean, they were sort of laid out like almost like in a jewelry store, because they had clearly been washed and they weren't like gory in any way. They were just these like big brain jewels in a row. And then the other meats were also on display, but somehow, yeah, the sheep brain got like pride of place.
Beyond the sheep brains, though, Jen and Adam's memories of the sandwiches start to get kind of fuzzy.
I remember, like, mayonnaise, but, like, more magical than mayonnaise.
Radishes. I definitely remember
like
radishes.
And I remember corn.
And there must have been a cheese, too.
We decided not to go with sheep brains.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had. I really do, but we didn't.
Like, I had chicken and you had...
I had the tongue, which felt conservative, but I love tongue.
What I remember vividly is, like, a softness and a crunchiness. Like, it was perfectly balanced.
And then the bread was extraordinary. It was like one of the best sandwich baguettes I've ever had. And there was also clearly so much behind the preparation of the meats, and it was sort of falling apart, but not too much.
I remember us both, like, just staring at the guy who made it in shock. Like, it was like, whoa.
Right. We each finished our enormous sandwiches, and we seriously discussed each getting another one, even though I was so full I probably, like, could have taken a 6-hour nap.
Do you wish now you had gotten another one?
I wish I had the sheep brain one. Yeah, I feel like we should have at least tasted it. We didn't have to eat the whole thing.
Now, I just wish we had somehow documented it, because clearly that place is long gone. Who knows whether the owners are alive or dead.
When people come to visit you from out of town, what's the one restaurant that you say, while you're here, you have to go to this place? It could be fine dining, it could be a taco shack or a Waffle House. But you've got that place. When you take your guests there, what you're really saying is, I want you to eat here because it'll help you to appreciate my home. Well, for Issa and for a lot of people in Aleppo, this sandwich shop was that place. Now, that city's mostly destroyed. Jen just assumes the restaurant's gone. But is it possible it's still there? Well, as you'll hear, when you're talking about a shop in a city that's largely cut off from the rest of the world, that's a really hard question to answer. So today on The Sporkful, we're going on a quest. What made this sandwich shop special? What exactly was in those sandwiches? Has it really been demolished? Are the owners alive or dead? And what can the fate of this place tell us about the fate of Aleppo? We'll take you from Aleppo to Austria, from Detroit to New York to Istanbul, all in search of a sandwich.
Some corner in your stomach will taste that food. Maybe you will feel that your stomach is smiling happy.
Wow, this is emotional.
الو الو مرحبا
This is The Sporkful. It's not for foodies, it's for eaters. I'm Dan Pashman. Each week on our show, we obsess about food to learn more about people. The Syrian conflict began with the Arab Spring in 2011. A lot of Syrians were protesting the oppressive regime of President Bashar al-Assad, and he began a brutal crackdown. Fighting escalated, and since then, various rebel groups have been battling the government and each other. Fighters and weapons have poured in from outside the country to support all sides. Meanwhile, most average Syrians are caught in the middle. Millions have fled. And while it does seem the worst has passed and the regime will retain power, it's not over. Dozens of towns remain under siege. One person working to tell the stories of Syrians is Issa Tuma. He's the artist who took Adam and Jen to that sandwich shop years ago. Adam connected me to him on Facebook. Issa's still in Aleppo a lot of the time. His mother's there too. But he also lives for stretches in Europe, where he gives talks about Syria. He's managed to raise some awareness without angering the government. Okay, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How is that?
Adam's good. He has a son now, and he's very busy.
Wow.
When I talked with Issa, he was in Vienna. He grew up in Aleppo. If you've seen a photo of the city in the last few years, chances are it was crumbled buildings and rubble as far as the sea. At the height of the war, fighting between the government and opposition groups essentially put Aleppo under siege. Supplies of medicine and food cut off. People starved. Issa tells me his family learned how to cook moldy bread to a dish they could eat. After we talked about his experience in the war, our conversation turned to the sandwich shop. The sandwich shop that you took Adam to,
Yeah,
what was it called?
Sergey.
How do you spell that? Like S...
It's very popular name, family name. I don't.
Oh, it's a family name, okay.
Yeah.
And where in Aleppo is it?
The original center was in front of the public garden. Later, they opened another shop in Faisal Street, which is really where Adam eat.
Okay, so Adam went to the one on Faisal Street.
Yeah.
When you went to Sergey, what was your favorite sandwich to get?
I eat usually the rosto because I like it. Yeah, a lot.
Rosto.
Yeah.
Rosto is ground meat rolled and stuffed with veggies, nuts, sometimes egg. After it's cooked, it's sliced. Can you describe to me what does it taste like?
That difficult. I don't know. Some corner in your stomach will taste that food. Maybe you will feel that your stomach is smiling happy.
When was the last time you were at this sandwich shop?
Around 7 years ago. Yeah.
So Issa didn't know much about the details of the sandwiches. He thought the original place was still there, but like he said, he hadn't been in years. It felt like we'd hit a wall pretty early in our quest. Issa had given us one crucial piece of information though, the sandwich shop's name, which is also the last name of the family that owns it. Sergia. We looked online, but all we could find was a Facebook page for an Afghani restaurant in Turkey. We had a Syrian-American friend who speaks Arabic look online too, but nothing. And the thing is, even if we were able to get a phone number for Sergia, the Syrian government monitors people's calls. The folks in Sergia would be understandably wary of a call from a stranger asking a bunch of questions, even if it was from an Arabic speaker. That kind of call, coming from outside the country, could get them in trouble. We needed some kind of back-channel connection. So we cast a wide net in the U.S. We reached out to organizations that work with Syrian refugees, friends in immigrant food communities, friends of friends whose parents came to the U.S. from Syria decades ago. We put out the call. We're looking for people from Aleppo who know the sandwich shop Sergia. And that's how we found Shadi Martini. Do you remember that sandwich?
Oh yeah, I remember every sandwich. Not only at Sergia, at other places also, because I love these sandwiches.
Coming up, a break in the case and an unbelievable story. Stick around.
And now,
Well, have every possible type of jacket you could want, 65-day return.
I'll do act back.
Where his family is from. He thought he could deliver high-quality coffee and help Yemeni farmers in the process. But just as he was getting started, war broke out, and Oktar found himself stranded in Yemen. Check out that story where he got this one. Okay, back to the show. So we spent months trying to find someone from Aleppo who knew about this sandwich shop. And then
I remember Sergia pretty well. We have something called Central Park in Aleppo, so something like New York. So it was at the corner in front of Central Park, and it's a very nice place. It's not a big one, it's a small one, but it's always busy.
Shadi Martini was born and raised in Aleppo. After going to college in Lebanon, he ran businesses in Europe. Then, in 2009, when he was 38, he came back to Aleppo to run the hospital his family owned.
So growing up in Aleppo, I was confined to a community which was a little bit upscale community, a community that was exclusive. But when I started running the hospital, I met all segments of society. I went out of my comfort zone and went to meet my employees at their homes. I participated in weddings, funerals. I was invited to lunches with my employees, met their families. So somehow I saw the real Syria.
Did you ever go with any of those folks to Sergia?
Oh yeah, we would, especially late at night. Food is an essential thing in the life of Philippians. So it's very sophisticated, the food. We really appreciate when we're having a bite. We want it to be a perfect meal. So if you have a lousy place for sandwiches or for whatever, you can't survive.
Shadi tells me Damascus may be Syria's political capital, but Aleppo was always the food capital. And even though it's a big city, 3.5 million before the conflict, it feels like a small town. Everyone knows everyone. Shadi says the folks at Sergia knew him so well, sometimes he didn't even have to order.
It's like old friends, old buddies that you know them. It's being there, eating it there, and talking to the people that makes it probably more delicious than anywhere else.
And what about the brain sandwich? Can you describe that one to me?
Oh, that's my favorite actually. It's a magnificent sandwich, but the problem with it is if you have high cholesterol, it's dangerous for you. The way they do it, they boil it, so you don't have any smell or anything. They will cut it like you cut a tomato, and then they'll put it in the bun, and then they'll put it on the toaster, and then they will put inside also the tomatoes, the pickles, the Syrian pickles, and the lemon juice with some garlic.
And so the brain is kind of soft and fatty and tender. So the richness of the brain with the sort of the zing and the tart of the lemon and the garlic.
And it melts. It just melts. It melts in your mouth. It's like mushy like this. And you put this 7 spices that we have. We call it bahar, but 7 spices mixed together. It also gives it a uniqueness to the sandwich. And when you eat it, it's like it's over and very quick. And it is delicious.
When's the last time you had that sandwich?
Oh, it's been a while. It's been since I left Aleppo in 2012.
That 7 spice mix Shadi mentioned, it's found across the Middle East. It varies a bit by region, even from one family to the next, but it's usually got cinnamon, nutmeg, coriander, cumin, cloves, paprika, and black pepper. Aleppo was once a hub of the global spice trade. Its market was built during the Ottoman Empire in the 14 and 1500s, and it stood for centuries. In 2012, in the midst of the war, the market was destroyed. The 7 spices isn't the only aspect of this sandwich we're going to talk about. There are other classic Middle Eastern touches: lemon juice, pistachios, pickled vegetables. Then there are the aspects that are uniquely Syrian.
Syria is a crossroad country, so throughout history it's always a mix of cultures. You had a lot of religions, you have a lot of cultures mixing together. So that's the uniqueness, that's part of the uniqueness of the food.
Remember how Jen talked about the sandwich baguette being one of the best she'd ever had? Well, France occupied Syria for decades after World War I, hence French bread. Shadi says some of Sergia's sandwiches use spicy red pepper that comes from a strong Armenian influence. During the Armenian genocide, refugees poured into Syria. In fact, many Armenian recipes call for Aleppo pepper. Now, to be clear, Sergia wasn't the only place in Aleppo that made these kinds of sandwiches. They just did it better, like the best barbecue place in Houston or the best burrito place in San Francisco. So, to recap, you got a city obsessed with food, a tight-knit community where personal connections run deep, and ingredients that are unique to this place. It seems like Sergia could only exist in Aleppo. That's why it's so important to Shadi. But there's another reason, maybe even a bigger reason. Because Shadi's experiences at Sergia weren't just about the food or the atmosphere. As he said, he grew up privileged in an exclusive community. Sharing meals with his hospital employees at Sergia helped him connect with what he called the real Syria.
I didn't know the suffering of other Syrians. I didn't know the worry of other Syrians and the majority of Syrians. I just thought that everyone lived like them, and if someone complained or had, why is he complaining? You know, it's a good life. Well, it's a good life for me, not for him.
There were other pivotal moments for Shadi in Sergia, especially as the Syrian conflict was escalating. He remembers that at one of his last trips there, the atmosphere had changed.
The situation in Syria was very tense. So people started not really talking to each other that much because they were so afraid that they might say something that would turn out to be dangerous for them. So that was strange for me. Before that, we used to talk a lot, laugh a lot. All of a sudden, people started being quiet.
Around this time, protests in Aleppo were increasing, but the government insisted it was a small group. Regular citizens were taken to the streets, but the government said the demonstrators were terrorists and radicals. And when everyone's staying silent out of fear, you can start to wonder, wait, is everyone else seeing the same thing I'm seeing? Or am I the only one? So that was the atmosphere at Sergia when Shadi was there by himself one night. The TV was on, showing a news report about the protests.
The government's line was, these are all terrorists, extremists, radicals, Islamists that want to overthrow the government, and we knew better. We knew that there were only normal folks that just wanted some freedom, some change, and we were all watching, but we didn't know each other, so we were only looking at each other, and then spontaneously we understood that we all disagree with the line of what's the government is saying on TV, and just started laughing.
So you guys are sitting over like lamb brain sandwiches at Sergia, and this thing comes on TV, and you're like, yeah, look at us, here we are, the terrorists.
yeah. Apparently everyone saw the same, because we just started looking and laughing. You know, we didn't say anything, just laughed. You know, because we knew it was a lie, but you know, everyone was afraid of the other. You know, if you live in a police state where everything is under control and everything is monitored and everything you, so you know, be very careful what you say and what you do.
But that night in Sergia, Shadi saw that the other strangers in the shop felt the same way he did about what was happening in their country. So, connecting with those people, connecting with different Syrians through his work, it all led Shadi to make a decision that would change his life forever. Because many of the demonstrations, like that one on TV, were happening at the local university, which was right near Shadi's hospital.
So mainly the protests will come out from there, people will be beaten, chased, and a lot of them will escape and try head our way. So it was normal for us to see people running and trying to go into one entrance of our hospitals and escape from the other entrance to elude the people chasing them.
Around that time, Shadi started getting pressure from the secret police and other government agencies.
Each and every representative of these branches would come to me as the manager of the hospital and tell me, if you have anyone who was beaten in a demonstration or or shot, you have to inform us immediately. And if you don't do that, they will come and pick me up.
In case it's not clear, picked up means getting arrested, interrogated, possibly tortured, possibly killed. And when most Syrians get an order like that from the secret police, they follow it.
I remember one guy got beaten in front of the hospital. They thought he was a demonstrator, and he was bleeding all over. And one of my employees called me and said, this guy was beaten because they thought he was a demonstrator. Shall I call the numbers that I have? I told him, why do you need to call them? The guy wasn't a demonstrator. He said, yeah, but he got beaten. So that's the mentality that my employees had. They were so worried that if they didn't call, that they would get arrested.
Shadi told his employee not to call anymore. But it wasn't just Shadi's workers who were terrified. It was also the patients. One time a 6-year-old boy was brought into the hospital with a gunshot wound. He was with his grandmother. He told the police that the terrorists did it, and that satisfied the interrogators.
Then we took him to the operating theater. I remember the surgeon who operated on him, coming and laughing. And I told him, why are you laughing? He said, remember this kid that said the terrorist shot him? He said, we asked him in the upstairs, who shot you? And he looked at me, but there was no parents around him. He told him, well, the terrorists were on a tank and they shot me. And at that time, early 2011, the only people who had tanks were the army, the regular army. No one else had tanks, so we knew immediately that was the government that shot him. But he was coached by his parents to say, never say the government or the soldiers. You will say the terrorists, because that way we won't get into trouble. That's how people coached everyone, not to say the truth, just to stay safe and get the treatment that they needed.
There was always someone from the police in the hospital. There was so much fear and intimidation there that soon people who needed help stopped coming in.
And that was when we started trying to help them.
In other words, Shadi decided to disobey the order from the secret police, to try to treat people instead of turning them in. One day, when a woman came into the hospital after being shot in the leg, the authorities were close behind her.
And they came and they said, we want to take her for interrogation. And we told them she can't go. She just got in. She needs to go to an operation. And they said, no, we're taking her. So we said, well, you can't. You have to wait a bit. We said, okay. And we always had someone there, armed, or they're waiting for her. So we tried to call her relatives and told them this is what's going to happen. So what we did is we smuggled her out, and they were waiting for her in another place and in front of her room. And when they went in, there was no one. So that's how we did it.
And so the secret police come into the room where they expect to find her recovering from surgery, and they find that she's gone.
Yes.
What happens next?
Well, they asked us where she is, and we said, I don't know. I can't tell you. At that time, it was early also, and people didn't expect that we were in on it.
But as time went by, Shadi kept doing this. He started to think someone might be onto him.
And at that time, there was a lot of kidnapping of wealthy figures and people. So I remember a guy who I knew fairly, was an interrogator, and he came to me and he told me, Shadi, your father is a very prominent figure in this city. And I said, yes. Well, he said, well, you should take very good care of him. And I said, why? He said, you never know who would kidnap him or take him. You should take care of him. You shouldn't let him walk like this by himself. I interpreted as a threat. I was worried. I was very worried. I made someone to try to be with my father all the time when he goes on his walks, or try to be behind him in a car or something, because I was very worried.
Then things got worse.
We had one doctor that was kidnapped and tortured and was thrown on a roadside ditch. And this doctor was known that he would treat anyone who came to his clinic, and he would help these demonstrators. So somehow I interpreted as a warning, be careful what you're doing and stop doing it.
But Shadi didn't stop. In fact, he started doing a lot more. Coming up in the second part of our story,
We are discovered, our names are on each and every roadblock.
They said we're coming back to rebuild this place. We would never leave Aleppo.
Most of us are so traumatized of what we went through, what we witnessed, that we try not to think about it.
الو اهلا خيو اهلا كيفك؟ اهلا اخ ايمان سيرتيه؟
our story will continue this Friday with part 2, and then next Monday, a brand new update. While you wait for that one, check out some of our other recent episodes. We had one about a hot dog vendor in New York who spent decades fighting City Hall, police, and other street vendors for the most valuable spot in the whole city, right outside the Metropolitan Museum of Art. That episode's up now. Check it out. And hey, did you know you can listen to the Sporkful on the SiriusXM app? Yes, the SiriusXM app has all your favorite podcasts, plus over 200 ad-free music channels curated by genre. Hey everyone, we're about to share part 2 of our series, all about a very special sandwich shop in Aleppo, Syria. If you didn't hear part 1, please go back and listen to that one first. We originally aired this story in 2017. In the past year, conditions in Syria have changed dramatically. Many of you reached out asking for an update on this story. Well, I'm pleased to tell you that this Monday we will have that brand new update on the sandwich shop and our main character, Shadi Martini. So enjoy part 2 and stay tuned for this Monday when we'll have the new part 3. Previously on the Sporkful.
People are walking in and they see us and they're like, you're here for the sandwich. This was a pilgrimage spot.
Clearly that place is long gone. Who knows whether the owners are alive or dead.
Do you remember that sandwich?
Oh yeah, I remember every sandwich. It's being there, eating it there, and talking to the people that makes it probably more delicious. We used to talk a lot and laugh a lot. All of a sudden, people started being quiet. People started avoiding coming into hospitals, and that was when we started trying to help them. We had one doctor that was kidnapped and tortured. I interpreted as a warning, like be careful what you're doing and stop doing it.
This is the Sporkful. It's not for foodies, it's for eaters. I'm Dan Pashman. Each week on our show, we obsess about food to learn more about people. Let's continue with the story of Shadi Martini. He has a special attachment to the sandwich shop we're searching for, Sergia. Shadi loved that place partly because of the food and the people, which made the shop really unique to Aleppo. But he also loved it because it played a role in his own transformation, from a wealthy businessman running a hospital to a guy who was risking his life to treat demonstrators who had been beaten by the secret police. When we left off, Shadi was getting increasingly worried that he'd be discovered. A doctor who was known to treat protesters had been arrested and tortured. Shadi took it as a message. Someone was telling him to stop. But he didn't stop. Instead, he started doing a lot more.
So what we did is we established this secret network with friends of mine, and we actually financed this by our resources because we had money. We were very well off, and what we did is we established some secret facilities and helped people establish it, gave them equipment, gave them medical supplies.
Through this secret network, Shadi and a few friends smuggled medical supplies to people around the region. And he put his skills running businesses to use. He created a structure with a small core group, and then there were supply chains in various directions. He made sure only the core group knew all the people involved, so if someone down the chain was arrested, they wouldn't have too much information to share.
So we did a lot of this stuff under the radar, and no one knew about it until 2012 when we were discovered.
Did your family know what you were doing?
My family didn't. I'm talking here about my family as my parents and my brothers, but my wife knew.
What was that moment? What was the moment you were discovered?
It was another 2 colleagues that were arrested, and at that time I was outside the country because what I did in 2011 is I moved my family out of the country, my kids and wife, because I was very afraid that something would happen to them because of my actions.
Shadi was able to get his wife and kids to America. They basically just got lucky. They won the green card lottery. They settled in the Detroit area. Shadi shuttled back and forth between there and Aleppo. He wanted to continue his secret work and stay close to his parents. He was hoping to convince them to leave with him. Then, in the summer of 2012, Shadi was on his way back to Syria after a trip to the US. At this point, he'd been doing his secret work for about a year. He was on a stopover in Europe. The fighting in Aleppo at that time was so bad that the airport there was closed. His flight back to Syria was cancelled.
And during that time, when I was trying to find another airline to go through another city like Damascus, I was informed by a colleague of mine who worked with me, don't come back. We are discovered, our names are on each and every roadblock, so stay out. And actually, if I would have made it on this flight that I was planned, probably I couldn't have made it out. At that time, I always thought of my kid who was 3 years old. I always imagined that my son would grow up and he would come to me and ask me about Syria, what happened at that time. I will have to explain it. I always thought that the next question will be, what did you do? And I couldn't imagine myself telling him, well, I did nothing. I just took care of business and made us more rich. Actually, after I left, the government put out a decree to confiscate everything I own in Syria. So I lost everything. I lost the ability to go back to my home. But really, I don't regret anything. I sleep great at night, seeing that I did what I should do.
Once you realized you weren't going to be able to go back to Aleppo, were you able to tell your parents?
Oh, yeah, they knew. But they knew that I couldn't come back. Yeah, they knew. It's tough for them, it's tough for me, probably, but they're still in Aleppo, so they need to do what they have to do to survive.
When was the last time you spoke to them?
Several years now. One of the reasons I went back to Aleppo in 2008, and I had very good business in Europe, was to be next to them. You know, I thought most of my life was I lived it without them. So somehow I thought that being close to them these years would be a good thing. But you know, changed. You know, events. You know, changed everything. Sorry about that. Try not to think about it, you know, if you know, this is what's the dilemma for a lot of us that went through what we went through, is we try to block it. Most of us are so traumatized of what we went through, what we've witnessed, that we try not to think about it.
As I listened to Shadi, I kept thinking about how he had made this choice that had caused him so much pain, and yet he doesn't regret it. I wondered if he wishes he hadn't seen what he's seen. Not that he would have made a different choice and supported the government, but does he just wish he could get rid of that pain?
No, never. Never. You know, it's tough, but I'm happy that I went through this. It's not only about Aleppo, you know, it's opened my eyes about a lot of things. You know, as a person, as a human being, how we are as human beings. I always looked at myself as myself only, and the people surrounding me. Remember Darfur, we didn't care. Rwanda, we didn't care. And you have to understand that it could come to you. It's going to happen to you, and one day you'll be suffering, and you'll be looking and wondering why are others not so passionate, why they don't have empathy toward me. Well, yeah, it's tough when others had these problems and you didn't care. So, no. I love that I've seen that. I love that I've turned to a different person, because that's how people should be, not the other way around. Wow, this is emotional. thought we were talking about sandwiches and that. He stopped and opened this placofagos that was prepared.
Yes, we were talking about sandwiches. Shadi gave us a really deep sense of the food and the atmosphere at Sergia. I think now we understand why this place was so important to him, and why, as Adam put it, even for locals, Sergia was a pilgrimage spot. But Shadi didn't know for sure what happened to it. Like Issa, he'd heard the original one by the public garden might still be open, but he couldn't confirm it. Shadi had known a lot of the workers in the shop, but he didn't really know the Sergia family. And he can't reach out to people in Syria for info because talking to Shadi could put those people in danger. We needed to get to someone in Aleppo. But how do you reach someone in a mostly destroyed city in a police state? Well, as it turns out, there's an app for that.
Hallo, Imad Serfiye من Aleppo.
Coming up, contact. Stick around.
Time to cook up some advertisements. I'm Evan Kleiman. On KCR.
A bit, sort of like the shreds you see on some baklava that look like a bird's nest. Then on the inside it's like a very sweet cheesecake filling, but a lot softer and oozier, almost like pudding. It's bonkers.
This is my specialty, so
This is so good.
whenever I go, people said, what do you want to bring? I said, please, can you bring us knafe?
Fadi has been back to Aleppo a few times since moving to the US, but not since the war started. She remembers Sergia well.
It's a very simple restaurant. From outside, you figure out it's like an ordinary place, but
Fadia knew the father who opened the restaurant in the 70s, and the sons who took over after he passed away.
I think why he is famous because of his generosity. And maybe he cooked with a lot of love. He doesn't cook like, I just wanted to have the money. No, he cooked from his heart, so he get really good quality.
Fadia still has family in Aleppo, so she asked that we not use her last name because they could get in trouble if the government finds out she spoke with us. But her family there, they were our in. She's still in regular contact with them. So that's how it happened. That one of Fadia's relatives walked into Sergia by the public garden in Aleppo and said, "There's a radio show in New York that wants to talk to you."
Sometimes they get scared not to answer the phone if they don't want to.
We were in Fadia's living room. We called with her iPad using an app called Viber that the Syrian government can't monitor.
Hello? Hello, مرحبا. أهلا أهلا كيفك؟ أهلا سلمك بالأخ أهلين الأخ إيمان سرجية؟
She says, "Is this Imad Sergia?"
أيوة أنا
After a long pause, he says, "Yes."
يحطوا برنامج صغير عن
Fadi explains her family's connection to his. She says, "Remember that guy who came in and said there's a radio show in New York that wants to talk to you? You're with them now." And Fadia tells Imad, "It's just a show about food, nothing political." He says, "Okay."
What do you want to ask him first?
First is, how is he doing?
Oh. عم بيسألك إنه أنتوا كيف؟
Getting a decent connection is a problem. Another issue, there are a lot of things we can't ask without putting Imad in a tough position.
We can't ask him this question about how they are doing or anything. تفضل. شو بتحبوا؟ What do you want to ask him? About what?
How are things in his restaurants?
كيف الشغل عندك هلا؟
Imad says the worst of the fighting is past. Things are better now. The restaurant's open, more people are coming in. Then we get disconnected again.
Oh,
Despite Imad saying things are okay, Fadia is skeptical.
they bomb all this. now, you could say 10% is safe, but I know it's not. But we can't talk. You're a foreigner, and he doesn't know you.
So you think even if things were bad there, he would be afraid to say it to us because he doesn't know who we are?
He can't. No, he can't say it to me. I mean, even I'm Syrian, but he won't.
We got Ahmad back on the line.
Hello.
Ask him to describe the tongue sandwich in particular.
اوكي كان بتقدر تحكي لهم على سندويشة لسانات السندويش.
I don't speak Arabic. Later on, I had this conversation translated. But I have to say, just hearing Ahmad's voice coming out of the speaker in that moment, I found it very moving. Knowing this voice was coming from a place that the news had told me was destroyed. Early in the conversation, Ahmad was wary of us. But when he started talking about his food, you could hear his passion. He was a chef, excited to talk shop.
7 hours.
7 hours what?
7 hours for the tongue to get cured. They add vinegar.
It sounds like you're getting hungry just listening to this, Fadia.
أقول إنه بديت أنا أحس
Fadia tells Ahmad the joke I just made.
بس ما بسمع لك.
What about the brain?
The brain. بتعمل هي سندويشات brain تمام؟ طيب. المخ.
And from there, we proceeded to nerd out on Sergia's recipes with Ahmad and Sergia. The mayo is homemade and it has garlic in it. The pickles vary depending on the season, sometimes cucumbers, peppers. If you ask for it, they'll put a salad on your sandwich that's made from olives, thyme, oregano, and lemon juice. The brain is boiled with bay leaves, rosemary. If you boil it too long, it turns to mush. It has to be just right, and you have to chill it to be able to slice it. Ahmad says, "We love our craft. We were raised doing it."
He said that they love what they're doing, and we say in Arabic, it's really, I have to explain it. This is, they said when you cook, they call it nafas, like meditation, sentiment, like they, with a lot of love. They love to cook and they love to eat. They're number one.
After that, I had to ask another crucial question. We had heard from some contacts that an outpost of Sergia had opened up in Istanbul. And it's plausible. A lot of Syrian families famous for a restaurant or bakery have migrated to Istanbul, Egypt, Dubai, places where there are a lot of Syrian refugees. But there are also people opening up shops in those places and just ripping off the famous names, even though they have no connection to the original. So, I wanted to hear it from Imam. We heard that there's a Sergia in Istanbul. Can you ask him if it's part of his family that's opened that restaurant?
في محل سيرجية بإسطنبول. هذا بأربع. This is one of the workers that he works for him. He went and used his name, but he's in a good relationship with him. He does everything that they do.
In other words, the Sergia in Istanbul, it's legit.
People from Toronto, his friends, they're asking him to come and open a place because his name very well. So they wanted his name to put in there, and so he's very well known. I'm telling you.
Is he going to do that?
بدك تعمل هيك مشروع. If he can do it here, he would prefer to come here instead of going to Toronto. If you get him a visa, he would love to come. Come to Syria, inshallah. You come to there. Let's go, inshallah.
Inshallah. In Syria or New York or Toronto?
أي محل إن شاء الله بيحبوا يشوفوك يا بنيويورك يا بسوريا يا بتورونتو. I'll come to Syria and he would welcome you. They're very generous. They welcome everybody.
Thank you very much.
شكرا. مع السلامة.
How does it make you feel to talk to him? How does it make you feel to talk to him, to know that that place is still there?
I feel very much happy. I mean, I feel happy because at least the people still have trust that this city is going to rebuild again. Because they keep saying that we are going to rebuild it again. We're coming back and to rebuild it. The people who are in Germany, they said, we're coming back to rebuild this place. We will never leave Aleppo.
I met up with Adam and Jen. They're the couple you heard at the start of part 1, the ones who told me about Sergia in the first place. It took me a while to track Issa down with your help, Adam. He is living part of his time in Austria,
Wow.
Austria.
but he's still been going back to Aleppo fairly regularly.
Really?
Yeah, his mother still lives there.
Wow.
And he's okay. She's okay.
So far. So far. The sandwich place is called Sergia. Sergia.
Sergia.
Yes.
That is a familiar ring.
And that's the family name.
Uh-huh. Wait, so is it still...
It still exists.
It does?
It's still there.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That actually, I think I'm gonna tear up a little bit. That makes
That's
me
hard to believe.
so happy to hear. Wow.
After that, there was one more person I had to report back to. Shadi. These days, he works with a Syrian refugee organization in the U.S., which means he makes regular trips to Istanbul, where a lot of refugees have settled. And as you'll recall, there's now a Sergia in Istanbul. Shadi can't go back to Aleppo, but how close can the sandwich get him? Shadi, next time you're in Istanbul, I want you to go to Sergia. You send me the bill. I'm gonna buy you a sandwich. All right.
I don't worry about it. Come on, just a sandwich. You'll pay for something, but when I come to New York, take me to dinner in New York. I'll pay for the sandwich.
See, yeah, you are a good businessman.
Exactly.
A counter offer.
Yes, that's you have to negotiate.
Alright, it's a deal. You buy a sandwich at Sergia in Istanbul, you report back to me. Next time you're in New York, dinner's on me.
That's the deal.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see. So let's go and have some sandwiches.
A few months after that conversation, Shadi was in Istanbul. He met up with Dalia Mortada. She's a Syrian-American food writer and reporter who was living in Istanbul at the time. When Shadi first came into the restaurant, you could tell he was skeptical.
It's a little bit different. So the way everything is set up, the type of vegetables, the type of meats a little bit is different. You would go there and you will see the meats like the mozzarella, these pastrama, they're all hanging, and that's how it was in Aleppo. You will see some stuff hanging, you will see stuff in the fridge, in the window, and you will see a lot of vegetables and a lot of stuff. So that's the difference.
So the meats weren't displayed the same way, and there were some unfamiliar menu items.
They want more clients. As much as Syrians are here, they're not that much as a clients. So this is why they have fried chicken, they have falafel, they have shawarma. Back home, they won't need that.
Shadi placed his order.
وحدة طاعات وقراص نعناع وسجق. Assure me that he's doing it like he's supposed to in Aleppo. No changes, no fancy stuff. Don't do the European stuff. I just want the old Olympian sandwich. That's it.
Soon, it was time to eat.
This one is this was the bread. Let's look out. Perfect. The lemon. Same taste. Takes you back home. Just hits you. The taste judge get flashbacks. That's the problem that we're all facing. We try to remember the good stuff. Then when you get something like this, you get everything back. You recognize that you're not coming back. You're not going back anymore there. That's it. That's how you're gonna remember where you live.
At the time that Shadi ate that sandwich in Istanbul, he had no idea what the future would look like for Syria. For the next few years after that, the Assad government would strengthen its hold on the country. There would be a little more stability, but Shadi would remain in exile. Then, just last year, everything in Syria changed very quickly and very dramatically. When that happened, many of you reached out to us asking for an update on Shadi. Well, I'm pleased to tell you we taped a brand new interview with Shadi. Yes, he has returned to Syria. We'll hear all about it this Monday. This episode was originally produced by Ann Sandy and me. Dan Charles was our editor. Casey Holford mixed this episode. Additional production and editing from Peter Clowney, Dahlia Mortada, and Zach Rosen. Special thanks to Adam Davidson, Jet Banbury, and Jamal Johar. These days, our show is produced by Emma Morgenstern and Andre Sohara. Our editor this week was Nick Liao, and our engineer is Jared O'Connell. This show is a production of Stitcher Studios. Our executive producer is Camille Stanley. Until next time, I'm Dan Pashman.
And I'm Holly Rosby in Cleveland, Ohio, reminding you to eat more, eat better, and eat more better.
During COVID, we all got into Zoom, and most people fixed up their backgrounds. They look nice and professional on Zoom, right? I haven't done it.
Stay with Edible, the same-day delivery or local pickup. Effortless gifting is just a click away. Choose from iconic chocolate dipped strawberries, fresh arrangements, or
I was informed by a colleague of mine who worked with me, don't come back. We are discovered. Our names are on each and every roadblock, so stay out.
They said, we're coming back to rebuild this place. We will never leave Aleppo.
The taste. Well, you just get flashbacks, you know. That's the problem that we're all facing. We try to remember the good stuff. Then when you get something like this, you get everything back. You know, you recognize that you're not coming back. You're not going back anymore there.
Hello? أنا كيفك؟ أنا أفهمت سرتية؟
Wow, this is emotional. I thought we were talking about sandwiches, and then you're surprising me with all these stuff and open these floods of emotion that I wasn't prepared to.
This is the Sporkful. It's not for foodies, it's for eaters. I'm Dan Pashman. Each week on our show, we obsess about food to learn more about people. In 2017, we aired one of our most popular Sporkful episodes ever, about a beloved sandwich shop in Aleppo, Syria. When the brutal regime of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad fell last December, we heard from so many of you asking for an update on this story. Over the past week, we've reshared the original two-part series. Today, we have that update, including our main character, Shadi Martini's return to Aleppo after 12 years in exile. But if you haven't heard parts 1 and 2, please go back and start there. When we left off, we had tracked down Imad Sergia, owner of the sandwich shop Sergia. We learned that the place was still around, and it had such a following that one of Imad's former employees opened an outpost in Istanbul, where many Syrian refugees are relocated. A Syrian-American named Fadia helped me find Imad. We also heard the story of Shadi Martini, who couldn't return to Aleppo because of his aid work. He was helping people who were targeted by the regime, which made him a wanted man in Syria. He hadn't seen family and friends in many years, and hadn't eaten at his beloved sandwich shop. Going to the place in Istanbul was the closest he could get. Our first update picks up the story 3 years later, 2020, when the country was still under the Assad regime. I got back in touch with Fadia, because I heard she had some news. This might be the most important question of all, Fadia. Are you still making kanafe?
Yes.
Oh my God! Every time I see kanafe anywhere, I think of you.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Anytime. You're more than welcome.
Oh, thank you. I have not had kanafe since I had it at your house, because every time I see it somewhere else, or I see a recipe and think maybe I would try to make it, I'm always like, but if I do that, it's not going to be as good as Fadia's. And I'll only be disappointed.
No, it would be very good. I can walk you through all the details.
We weren't there just to talk about kanafe. Fadia had recently been to Aleppo, and she was really excited to tell me about all the food she ate there.
You eat the tomato, it's just like so juicy. You eat their olives, it's just great. Some sort of sweet that they do it with semolina. They fill it with pistachio and they add on the top of it mushroom. Oh.
Fadia, you're reminding me once again that Aleppians love food.
Oh. Everyone knows
That's
them.
right. I mean, man, it's all coming back to me now. Working on this episode a few years ago, like every time I talked to an Aleppian, they were like, "Oh, you gotta go to this. Oh, the olives. Oh, the lemon juice. Like, oh, the brain. Like, just like the passion is like it's infectious."
The food has to be really. If I'm cooking, it has to be good.
To get to Aleppo, Fadia had to fly to Turkey, then to Lebanon. Then she took a taxi to Aleppo, about an 8-hour ride. It was her first time back in 15 years.
I mean, to be honest with you, where we live, it didn't change that much. It's clean, it's nice, people are like really back to normal. But when they took me to the places where they get destroyed, your heart will get broken. It's just too much destroyed.
During the conflict, the areas of Aleppo controlled by the opposition were bombed heavily, and throughout the country, there were severe shortages of many basic commodities. On top of that, inflation had spiraled out of control. While Fadia was in Aleppo, she asked her nephew to go pick up some sandwiches from Sergia. Both locations of the shop were still open. Fadia remembered the sandwiches being huge when she used to go there, but during this last trip, she says they were much smaller, while remaining the same price. So basically, shrinkflation. So the sandwiches were smaller than you remember, but do they still have the same taste?
Same taste. It's like yesterday. Same taste. Never change. I had what they call a sujuk. Sujuk mean it's like a sausage,
Right.
but they add spices into it. They made their own mayonnaise, but they add to the mayonnaise like grated lemon.
Oh,
So
like lemon zest.
lemon zest.
And how did it feel taking that first bite in 15 years?
It's just heaven. You feel like 15 years younger, and you eat it, and you don't want to be finished. So now it's ready. That's all.
Of course, there was one more person we had to try to get in touch with.
اوكي اليوم مساء الخير او سيد عماد كيف الصحة؟
It was 6 p.m. on Saturday in New York, and it was 1 a.m. in Aleppo. Imad Sergia had just closed up shop for the night.
I'm not Allah said he was like too much happy that people heard him from New York, so it's good. Okay, what you want to ask him, Dan?
How are you?
هو عم بيسألك إنه كيف الصحة؟
والله الحمد لله رب العالمين بخير الحمد لله مش الحال الحمد لله.
He said that he's doing well and thank God everything is okay.
And I want to know what kind of pickles he's making this time of year.
المخلل هلا في عنا بهالوقت هو الفرنسي تاع
Yeah.
والمخلل الخيار والمخلل الفلفل.
He said that he's doing cucumber pickles. We have a long green pepper. It's hot and it tastes very, very good. So they do it for the winter.
Tell Imad that everyone I've spoken to tells me that the sandwiches are as good as they ever were. That year, 2020, they were celebrating 60 years since the original Sergia first opened its doors. But Sergia is not just sticking to the classics. Imad told Fadia there were some new items in the menu now. A sandwich called Mexicano, chicken breast stuffed with peppers, corn, and spices, topped with ketchup and broiled. They have Turkish shawarma now, too. And Sergia remained a popular late-night hangout spot.
The young people, young generation always goes and buy sandwiches from them. And now he opened two branches. One is Furkan, just opened it, and one is a place in Mogambo, which they are very crowded.
This was big news. Imad was expanding Sergia. In the midst of civil war, brutal dictatorship, and coronavirus, they weren't just surviving, they were growing. Well, Imad, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
And good luck with all the new restaurants. Fadia and Imad said their goodbyes and hung up.
It's not easy being there, and everything is so expensive. I mean, I don't know how he's coping with, a lot of stuff. So many people, they are like, they could have been outside. Probably he has money to to go outside, but he decided to stay. People are attached so much to their land and to their property, and they don't want to leave. But he's hoping that one day it's going to get changed.
It's a very positive sign to me that he's opening 2 new restaurants. I mean, that's...
But you were telling me about the Alipino. Alipino people are just all like this. You brush their head and they stand up and they say, tomorrow is going to be better.
I left that conversation feeling grateful that Sergia was still there, but uncertain about the future. I mean, it was incredible that this sandwich shop had survived the worst of the Civil War. But could it also survive these economic challenges? Then, last year, seemingly overnight, everything in Syria changed.
We begin with breaking news tonight out of Syria, where rebels may be on the verge of toppling President Bashar al-Assad's regime. The rebels keep pushing.
All that, plus Shadi Martini's return to Aleppo, coming up. Stick around.
Time to cook up some advertisements.
If If you're looking for a wine that's not just delicious, but also a total crowd pleaser, let me introduce you to Josh Sellers. This California wine brand has over a dozen award-winning wines. Sporkful for free shipping on your order and 360 as a donut. It's relatively unknown outside the Lone Star State. The kolache is a traditional Czech pastry made with a sweet, yeasty dough and filled with either fruit, cheese, or sausage. It got a foothold in Texas after a wave of Czech immigrants came to the state more than a century ago. Now, some entrepreneurial Texans are bringing kolaches to New York. I talked to the owners of King's Kolache in Brooklyn, who think kolaches could be the next big thing in the Big Apple.
I think that everyone is born ready for this because every culture has some version of a kolache, and it's they're easy to eat, they're crushable, they're delicious, they're good breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. So are they ready? Yeah, they might not know they're ready.
That's right. So, can kolaches be bigger than Texas? You try to find out. Check out that episode where you got this one. One more quick note before we get back to the show. I want you to stay tuned to the end of this episode for a special segment presented by Samsung, where I test out an all-new AI-powered Samsung fridge. This thing blew my mind, so make sure you stick around for that. Alright, let's get back to the show. We've covered the 2020 update on our Aleppo sandwich story. Now we're up to today. For years, Shadi Martini has been living in Michigan and working as the executive director of the Multi-Faith Alliance. This organization provides food and medical aid all over the world, and Shadi is often on the ground, traveling to war zones or disaster areas. In 2024, he'd been traveling back and forth to southern Turkey, right on the Syrian border. The Multi-Faith Alliance was providing aid to refugee camps in the area. But despite being so close to Syria, Shadi couldn't cross the border. He was still wanted by the Syrian government. Then, in November 2024, when he was on one of those trips to Turkey, he started getting some news. The situation in Syria might be changing.
We have a lot of medical staff and hospitals, so when there is something happening, they always tell, be prepared for emergency services. There might be something brewing. There was this news for a year, but we got used to it. Throughout the years, a lot of times we'd get these messages, but they turn out to be false. But anyway, we were knew that something was going to happen. I didn't know where and when or how big.
As it turned out, it was very big. On November 27th, rebel groups launched a large-scale attack on Assad's forces in the province of Aleppo, gaining control of towns, villages, and an Air Force base. The government responded with airstrikes.
I was a lot worried about refugee camps who are along the borders. You have 4 million people in that area that is outside regime control, and we were worried that they're going to be bombed and there are going to be high casualties. So all our staff was on high alert. And bombing did happen, but it wasn't as intense as we used to. They usually hit medical facilities. They did, but not as intense as before. So we were watching very anxiously. And on the second day of the offensive, I was actually playing cards with friends of mine, late night, the very Middle Eastern thing, in a coffee shop.
Shadi got a call from someone on his team.
They called me and said, they're telling us tomorrow we are going into the city of Aleppo.
This was the first time rebel forces had gone into Aleppo since they'd been pushed out in 2016. Aleppo was a stronghold for the Assad regime. It seemed impossible that the rebels could get there so quickly, after how fierce the fighting was a decade ago.
There was battles for neighborhoods in Aleppo that took months. So 2 days, the city, it was a big shock for us. But true to behold, next day, I was seeing pictures of opposition fighters inside the city, doing inside the city.
The Syrian government launched another counterattack with more aerial bombardments.
And actually, we lost 2 people in one of the ambulances that was hit by air bombardment in front of the biggest hospital, the University Hospital in Aleppo, which is very close to my home.
I'm very sorry to hear that you lost those 2 aid workers.
They were just trying to help because during fighting, a lot of the staff of hospital leaves. So we were trying to come in and help during this very tough moments. And they are very seasoned emergency workers that are used to work during military activities. It was very tough losing 2 of our folks.
This was a tragedy for Shadi and the Multi-Faith Alliance. But he says if there was a silver lining, it was the casualties were minimized because of how quickly the rebel groups won over Aleppo. The fighting was over in 11 days. On December 8th, the rebel group took control of the Syrian capital, Damascus, and Bashar al-Assad fled to Moscow.
Hundreds of tanks were abandoned. Thousands of soldiers just put civilian clothes and left. And all of a sudden, the regime that controlled Syria for 50 years disappeared.
So you're sitting in Turkey, just on the border of Syria, watching all this unfold. When you start seeing those videos from your home city, how are you feeling?
Oh man, I can't tell you how happy I was. It was unbelievable. For some time, like the last couple of years, we were getting depressed. We thought we would never be able to go home. We will never see our friends, our neighborhoods again. So that's it. Like we were destined to live in exile. We were all wanted by the regime. We were all marked for arrest and probably execution. And all of a sudden we could go back to Syria.
So that's exactly what Shadi did. A few weeks after the regime changed, in late December, Shadi flew to Jordan, got on a bus to the Syrian border, and then took a cab to go inside Syria.
And I went in and I saw the first roadblock that the regime held after the border, and I was asking the driver. He said this is one of the worst checkpoints that the regime had. He said a lot of people were arrested here or summarily killed.
So before the regime fell, if you had attempted to enter Syria through this border, you probably wouldn't have made it 10 feet past the checkpoint.
No, I would have been arrested immediately. My crime was supporting terrorism. And the only thing I did in Aleppo was try to help people who were getting hurt back in 2012.
But now Shadi passed through the checkpoint without any issue. For the first time in 12 years, he was back in Syria.
You can see that people are tired, worn out. It's a mix of shock, of tiredness, and happiness.
His first stop was the capital city of Damascus. Being back was surreal. But in the midst of trying to wrap his head around what had happened, Shadi also had to eat.
The most thing we were anxious to eat is actually a breakfast food that Damascus is very famous for. It's called fette, pita bread that is fried to be crispy. They mix it with yogurt and tahini and chickpeas with nuts covering it and with ghee butter. It's very nice specialty food for Damascus.
That sounds really good.
Wonderful.
Do the pita chips stay crispy, or do they get a little bit soft as they absorb the different things?
The way they do it there is they put it at the end on the top so it can stay crispy while you eat it. But once you start eating, you can mix it, and then it becomes more moist. And so it's a little bit crispy with a little bit moist. It's a very unique way they do it, and it's really, really good. And you have different types of pickles and greens beside it.
This sounds so good.
It is pretty good. At this place in Damascus, they do it like no one else.
And how did that first bite feel?
Oh, it was magic. I went there probably 2 times after that.
From there, Shadi headed to other parts of Syria to see family and friends. I was surprised that he didn't make a beeline for Aleppo, his home city. But he says, in a way, he was stalling. He knew going back would be very intense, and he was worried about what he'd find there. After a few days of zigzagging, he arrived in Aleppo.
When we were driving and I started seeing Aleppo, there was a lot of emotions. I cried a lot. I never thought that I would be driving this road again and driving into the city again. And it was very emotional, to be honest. Very, 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 very emotional. But we made it. My dad and mom passed away during that time. I couldn't speak to them for 5-6 years prior to their passing away because they were always harassed, targeted, just because of their relation to me. So it was a decision to try to minimize communication with your loved one because you don't want them to get hurt because of you. It's really tough because you have to choose sometimes very hard choices in your life. Like the pressure was always on them for me to stop what I'm doing, to stop what I'm talking about, and just go do something else. And it was a very hard choice. That was the biggest sorrows to my heart that I couldn't say goodbye.
Shadi wasn't able to see his parents before they died, but during this trip to Aleppo, he did get to visit their graves. Once word got around that he was back in town, Shadi was dangling from invitations. Everyone wanted to have him over for a meal. He got to eat dishes he'd been craving for years, including one particular Aleppian specialty.
It's called the cherry kebab. It's like a sweet and sour type of food. They take the juice of the sour cherry and then they boil it.
So you boil the sour cherry juice until it becomes like the syrup. You add a bit of sugar to cut the tartness. Then you cook lamb kebabs on the grill. Once they're smoky and charred, you add the lamb to the cherry syrup.
They boil it together. Then they prepare a big plate of pita bread that is cut into triangle shapes. Then they pour this cherry juice, the sour cherry juice with the kava over the pita bread. And then over it they put cinnamon and parsley.
Oh my goodness.
And you take each of these triangle pita bread that is soaked in cherry sauce and you take one kebab and you eat it. And it's something that I really wanted to eat. One of the first things that I wanted to eat because it's hard to get the taste outside of Aleppo. And it was amazing.
Shadi obviously enjoyed all the home-cooked meals, getting to eat all these dishes he grew up with. But of course, there was one special sandwich that he had to go out to get.
I'm here at Sergia Sandwich Shop. This was the first sandwich shop in Aleppo that does unique sandwiches, including like brain sandwich, toast sandwich, sujuk, which is an Armenian type of spicy meat that they put in the sandwich. It's located near the central part of Aleppo. Now it's considered central in Syria. And a lot of people in Aleppo loves coming here, especially at night. It works 24 hours, so people can come at any time and eat the sandwich. Now I just got the brain sandwich that I'm trying to see what changed. Oh wow. Actually nothing has changed. You can hear the crispiness of the bread, and it's green, and it has 7 spices, some pickles and tomatoes, and it's really unique. It's something that the bite actually takes you back in time. The bite reminds you of the first time you ate there and who you ate it with and what happened. So it's a lot of memories that are brought back through the food, the taste of the food.
I was curious if they still had any of those new sandwiches that Ahmad Sergia mentioned in 2020, but Shadi wasn't much help on that front.
I don't look at the food. When you go in, you don't look at the food. You go in and you know what you want. This is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. I don't care about anything else.
Shadi says the brain sandwich was still prepared perfectly, and cooking sheep's brain isn't easy. Cook it for too long and it turns to mush. Not long enough and it stays tough. But for Shadi, the highlight is always the perfectly crisp baguette. While he was there, Shadi got to speak with Namir Sergia, Ahmad's son. Namir is now the owner. When we spoke to Ahmad back in 2017, he had to be so careful about what he could say, for fear of the Assad regime. Now Shadi was able to talk to Namir more openly.
يعني بالنسبة محل شاد سيرجي صار معروف في كل سوريا وكل العالم الناس تعرفه.
They struggled a lot during the war in Syria. There was a lot of pressures, a lot of hardship. But now, after the fall of the Assad regime and liberation of Syria, they are very hopeful. I can tell you from my experience, when you come at night here, you would see like tens of cars and the place is packed. It's not a huge place, but it's a very unique place because it has a very important memories to the people of Aleppo.
So Sergia is still going strong. I was curious, though, how the rest of Aleppo's restaurant scene is doing. I mean, I remember when I first spoke with Shadi, he talked about what a big food city Aleppo was before the war. I asked him what that scene is like today.
It's good that you asked me this question, because I don't think it's that good, to be honest. I was shocked. There are some restaurants that are outliers that kept their exactly how I remember them, like Sergia and some other places, but a lot of the old traditional places are gone. So I was surprised that it's not the same quality. My hope is when people coming back from their forced displacement or being refugees around the world, and hundreds of thousands are coming, if not millions. I think this will pick up again.
It's interesting that you say that you're shocked that some of the food scene has deteriorated. I mean, obviously, you know Aleppo a lot better than I do, but I would almost say the opposite. Like, I'm shocked that Sergia is still so good. Just considering how much they've been up against for so many years, even staying open must have been such a struggle. That on top of staying open in the midst of everything that's been going on, to also maintain a high level of quality is like another very high hurdle to get over.
Actually, you're absolutely right. Now I'm thinking about it, but we're Halabi are very picky about our food. Like, and we don't shy from criticism. We don't care if you're in the middle of the war and standard has to be sauce. That's no excuse for us. Like, get us good food. Like, come on.
As for the situation in Syria overall, it's tenuous. There's an interim president and a provisional government, but they don't control the whole country. There are sectarian groups in control of various regions that oppose the new government, and there's ongoing violence. Many Syrians and world leaders are still trying to get a sense of how the new president, Ahmed al-Shara, plans to govern. He used to lead a group affiliated with al-Qaeda, but in recent years he's projected a more moderate image. Shadi went back to Syria in June, and because of all his work in the region, he actually got to spend 2 hours with the president.
When I met the president, he's a very soft-spoken person. He's not intimidating. He doesn't want to intimidate you, but he wants to talk to you, and he wants to explain his position and his vision. And to be honest, I was very pleased with the rhetoric, the attitude, the vision, where he wants to take the country, and I can see it as the type of moderation.
So Syria's long-term future remains unclear, but there's more reason for optimism than there's been in a long time. Meanwhile, Shadi and his team are expanding their work in Syria, especially in Aleppo, providing medical support to people in refugee camps. Which led me to ask him one more question. One of the things you said to me in our original episode that motivated you to put your life on the course that it's been on now for a number of years was that you thought someday your kids would come to you and they would ask you about Syria and they would want to know, what did you do? Since we last talked about this, have you had that kind of conversation with them?
Well, not typically, but they know about what I do. They came to some of the events that I spoke at, and they were a little bit surprised because somehow I tried to keep them away from learning what I'm doing because I don't want to scare them. A lot of the things that I had to go through are very dangerous, but they are really now more aware of what I do, and actually I think they're very proud. They think that it's something that is unique, and I told them, someday, people are going to write about the work we have done, and me and my colleagues and everyone, and at least we put some footnote in history that we did something good.
That's Shadi Martini, Executive Director of the Multi-Faith Alliance. If you want to learn more about their work or make a donation, you can find them at multifaithalliance.org. Next week on the show, the Salad Spinner is back, our rapid-fire roundtable discussion of the latest food news. We've got some major news in the world of pasta science, and we'll ask if your favorite fast food sauce is available at the store. Is it still special? That's next week. While you wait for that one, check out some of our other recent episodes, like our food dispute episode with Paolo Velez and James Park, our episode on the history of the Texas kolache, and a story about a restaurant critic who was confronted by one of the most celebrated chefs in America. Those are all up now. And hey, sure, you can listen to the Sporkful on the SiriusXM app. Yes, the SiriusXM app is all your favorite podcasts, plus over 200 ad-free music channels curated by genre and era, plus live sports coverage. Does your podcasting app have that? And there's interviews with A-list stars and so much more. It's everything you want. Podcast app and music app all rolled into one. Right now, Sporkful listeners can get 3 months free of the SiriusXM app by going to SiriusXM.com/Sporkful. This episode is produced by me along with managing producer
Emma Morgenstern
and senior producer Andres O'Hara. Our engineer is
Jared O'Connell.
Music help from Black Label Music. The Sporkful is a production of Stitcher Studios. Our executive producer is Camille Stanley. Until next time, I'm Dan Passion.
And this is Shadi Martini reminding you to eat more, eat better, and eat more better.
This segment is brought to you by Samsung Bespoke Appliances. Here's an issue I run into. I try to make a list of groceries, and then I get to the store, and I see something on the shelf, and I'm like, do I have mustard? Do I have apples? Now I can't remember if there's other things that I need that I might have forgotten. I don't know what I have.
Well, first I want to say you're not alone. There's a lot of people that also struggle with that.
I'm in the Samsung test kitchen with my buddy DJ.
I'm the Senior National Training Manager for Samsung Digital Appliances.
So basically like a nerd who can talk to regular people.
Sure, they're like...
As DJ explained, the sleek Samsung Bespoke refrigerator we're standing in front of today has the answers to my shopping list woes.
So what's cool about this particular refrigerator is it has something called AI Vision inside. When we think about Samsung and AI is really all about how can I save you time and money. So for your particular situation, you don't want to have to run back home, see, do I have milk, do I have apples? This will let you kind of see exactly what's inside by creating like a digital inventory list. Not only what you have, but when you actually purchase that and put it inside the actual refrigerator.
It can tell me how long the thing has been in there?
Correct, yes. So once we go into this AI Vision application, you can see these are the things that we have inside the refrigerator. That's where really the fun begins, because knowing what's inside the refrigerator is one thing. Maybe it's Friday night and you don't want to call the pizza man to come and deliver some food. How can I use up more of what's inside of my refrigerator? So this will search for recipes based on what's already inside your fridge.
So it can not only tell you what's in the fridge, it can tell you what to cook with it.
Correct.
And I should add, the fridge shows you recipes on a beautiful 32-inch touchscreen that's flush with the door. So there's photos of all the things in the fridge. There's chicken, there's tomatoes, there's eggs, there's olives. And so you just checked chicken, olives, and eggs. And you clicked search for recipes.
Search for recipes, yep. It's finding all kinds of different options that we have right here.
French's crunchy onion chicken.
Yeah.
You click on it, prep 5 minutes, cook 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's our egg that we have on hand. There's our French onion.
Oh, wow. So not only did the recipe come up, it told you which ingredients you have and which ones you need.
Yes.
And you can send the ones you need to your shopping list.
Correct.
So this will just send it to your phone.
Yeah, and then if you don't have the time, maybe you do Instacart or something like that, it can send that to them to be able to get that already ready to go and brought to you so you can make that dinner.
But this huge screen isn't just for the AI Vision. The screen acts as a hub for your whole kitchen. Once you pick a recipe and have all the ingredients,
you can actually select how you're going to cook it.
Kitchen
microwave or
oven.
All right. You want to pick any of these?
Let's check out these 30-minute chicken tenders.
Okay. It can actually send the recipe over to the oven, and it'll actually automatically start the oven process for me.
Whoa. And the oven is just going to start preheating?
100%. And
it's going to know which setting. It says air fry 375, 30 minutes.
Yep. Once you have that in there, you close the door and it'll do the rest. And then send you that notification while you're watching that game on the couch.
From the couch, you can use the Samsung SmartThings app to watch your food in the oven on your phone. Keep an eye on it. Not that you really need to. The oven already knows what to do. And for the part where you actually have to assemble the dish to get it in the oven, the AI Family Hub Plus screen on the fridge helps with that too. So here's an issue that I run into sometimes, DJ, is that I'll see a cooking instruction video, but it's on my phone, and then once I start trying to do it and cooking, now my hands are messy, or I can't find my phone, and it's annoying. As I understand, like this fridge has YouTube.
It has YouTube. The beauty of it is you can kind of watch what you're watching on your phone, and then you can continue
continue that on the actual 32-inch screen, so much bigger real estate. So the idea is you can kind of multitask here. I know my wife will probably argue and say I can't multitask. Still see the video of how they're preparing something, but then at the same time, I still can kind of see who's at the front door.
When you go to answer the door, you can check on what's in the oven.
Sure, you can also lock the door if you don't want them to come in.
You're like, I can't come. I'm cooking a focaccia.
I love it. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I'm on the couch watching my focaccia rise.
Exactly.
I can't answer the door right now. Thanks again to our sponsor, Samsung, for inviting us to test out their new product features. And there's so many other cool features in this fridge that I didn't get to cover with DJ. Like with the giant screen, you can have the weather up on the screen so your kids can check that out and they know what to wear. They don't even bug you about it. And you can even import your own recipes, like your grandmother's pie recipe. And after you've done a bang-up job with your grocery shopping, how do you open the fridge? Because your hands are full from the grocery haul. Well, guess what? You can open that fridge with ease thanks to Auto Open Door. Just a light touch of the door sensor and the fridge opens. Samsung has thought of everything. This fridge is not just a hub for your kitchen. It's like a hub for your family, for your whole life. It is the nerve center of everything, and it also keeps your food cold. Samsung's new line of bespoke AI appliances simplifies your time in the kitchen. Visit samsung.com/bespoke to learn more. The SmartThings app is available on Android and iOS devices. A Wi-Fi connection and a Samsung account are required. An automatic closing function is not available.
Make their hearts skip a beat this Valentine's Day with Edible. The same-day delivery or local pickup. Effortless skip.
This episode of The Sporkful is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Take a bite out of the beach. Plan a trip at visitmyrtlebeach.com.
We saw a lot of them, and we run out. People get upset. I'm serious.
We'll make sure to try some of that. This is The Sporkful. It's not for foodies, it's for eaters. I'm Dan Pashman. Each week on our show, we obsess about food to learn more about people. This entire episode is sponsored by Visit Myrtle Beach. The city has more than 2,000 restaurants along 16 miles of beach. So when they asked me to come down and eat my way across the city, I was like, I'm on the next flight. Of course, I did some research to find not only the best places, but a good representation of the variety of the food scene, and that's what you're going to hear today. So, my first stop, Big Mike's Soul Food. So you're the Big Mike.
I am the Big Mike. Okay. Yes, sir. Born and raised right here in Myrtle Beach.
He's not just the restaurant's namesake. Mike has a variety of other titles. Now, Mike, in addition to being the chef and co-owner along with your wife of Big Mike's here, and a husband and father to 3 children, as I understand it, you are also a city councilman.
Yep, been a city councilman now going on 25 years.
You're a church deacon as well, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And a real estate agent?
Yeah, I got to renew my license. You get so many things going on. You got to do this, got to do that.
I want to know when's your day of rest, Mike.
It's usually I rest on Sunday after church.
Okay.
So.
Mike sure takes care of people when they come into his restaurant. Before he sat down with me, I watched as he went table to table, sometimes greeting old friends, other times welcoming newcomers. Where are you here from? How long are you here? Can I get you anything else? When he left the table, everyone sitting there was smiling. Not only did Mike grow up in Myrtle Beach, he and his wife Maxine went to high school right across the street from the place that is now Big Mike's. Back then it was a different restaurant.
So we used to jump the fence from the high school, come over here and eat lunch. Who would ever thought 40 years later we'd end up owning the building?
Now maybe they didn't think they'd end up in the exact spot they used to come to back in the day, but the idea of owning a restaurant?
I grew up in the restaurant business. I was 12 years old when I first got my job in the restaurant. Me and my wife, when we were in high school, we would always say to each other, wouldn't it be nice one day to have a place of our own where we can have family working together, people enjoying their meals and stuff. So that had always been a dream.
In 2012, that dream became a reality when Mike and Maxine opened the restaurant. It's a classic roadside eatery, just a couple blocks from the beach. Mike and Maxine's 2 sons work there full-time too.
And they see the dream, and they love cooking, and they love the restaurant business too. A lot of times that's rare, but I'm blessed.
Is there one item on the menu that was sort of the hardest for you to get exactly right?
I'd probably say the macaroni.
Yeah. The macaroni and cheese?
Macaroni and cheese.
And what was the challenge?
I think just getting that right balance of seasoning and being consistent with it. Sometimes you can have a recipe and some people go, that ain't the way I make my macaroni and cheese. And I'm like, well, You know, some people just like soft cheese and noodles.
Right.
That's not macaroni and cheese to me, but you know, I like egg and I like cheese and milk and you know, the real cheese. You know,
Right.
So, all right,
Should we eat something, Mike?
yeah, let's eat some.
I put myself into Mike's hands and let him tell me what to try. And Mike was eager to have me try a lot. Pretty soon, a parade of servers began arriving at our table, dropping off shrimp and grits, fried chicken, gumbo, lima beans, pinto beans, rice and gravy, cornbread that they make every morning, collard greens, and cabbage. And one item I hadn't considered even requesting, but that Mike insisted I try. This pork chop is phenomenal. I'm so glad that you gave me a taste, because not growing up in the South, like when I think of classic soul food dishes, you know, I know that pork chops are done, but
Right.
it's not the first thing that comes to mind to me.
No.
And so to be like reminded, oh right, like pork chops. Like,
Yeah.
It's not just fried chicken, fried shrimp, fried fish, and all the vegetables and the sides and everything. A good pork chop
Thank you.
with the hot sauce.
With the hot sauce, you gotta have pork chops in Texas beef. It's amazing how many people come here for pork chops and the chicken and the mac and cheese. Those are our #1 sellers.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
So when you come down to Big Mike's,
You gotta try the pork chops, you gotta try the mac and cheese, you gotta try the fried chicken.
that's right. So Mike, at any soul food place, obviously, you know, the entrees get a lot of the attention, but like to me, the sides are a huge part of the experience. We got lima beans here, we got pinto beans, we got collard greens, we got these cornbread muffins.
Collard greens and our cabbage. Those are fresh collards, fresh cabbage. Cut them up.
That's all fresh local produce.
All fresh local produce. It's amazing. You know, a lot of people come in and just want a vegetable plate. Mustard greens, fried okra, green beans, and mashed potatoes and gravy. Yeah. Big hits also. Yeah.
I think it's the freshness, because like it doesn't feel heavy.
No.
So obviously, phenomenal soul food.
Yeah.
But like, tell me about the sort of the food scene in Myrtle Beach.
Well, you know, the food scene here in Myrtle Beach, it's amazing. Different cultures and stuff. It's almost like a golf industry here. You can play golf at a different course for 6 months. If you want to try soul food tonight, and if you want a good seafood the next, or if you want Asian food, or Louisiana food, or either some Caribbean food, I mean, there's such a variety here in the Myrtle Beach area. You can really try different food every day.
And I'm in places where you can do that, and we'll wake up the next morning and go sit on the beach.
That's right. That's right.
So, husband, father,
Yeah.
chef, restaurant owner, city councilman,
Yeah.
real estate agent, church deacon.
Yeah.
What is the through line of all of these different hats that you wear?
All of those hats that I wear, it's all about people. Sometimes people don't love to come to council meetings. They just want to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Mike, I've got this problem. Can you help me with it? Pick up the phone and call whatever department and say, hey, this citizen has a problem. How can you help? Real estate, so many people looking for places to stay. I just try to help. Churches, you know, people need somebody to talk to and pray for. So,
And same thing with folks coming into a restaurant.
that's it. Yeah. Sometimes I help in the back. People are hollering, hey, Mike, I spend a lot of time standing up talking to people. I do. And that's why I have to have more staff on to. But it's all good because you can relate to people and talk with people and make people feel good. And I want people to know that we appreciate them coming into the restaurant. I see people in stores sometimes. My wife will be like, you know, we're shopping. I'm like, yeah. You know? So,
All right, well, thank you so much, Mike. This has been a real treat.
well, I appreciate the opportunity. I hope everybody come down and try Big Mike's Soul Food whenever you're in the Myrtle Beach area. Thank you, guys.
Coming up, I continue to eat my way across Myrtle Beach. I meet a woman with a novel role at a restaurant.
Ice cream development.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Is that job opening anytime soon?
No. I'm not going anywhere.
And I try something I've never had before.
I use a rice grits risotto. I'll cook you a little bit of it. It's just delicious.
Wait, what does that mean? Rice grits? That's like 3 words. I thought those are 3 different foods. Rice grits and risotto.
To one. So when you eat it, you'll understand.
Stick around. This entire episode is sponsored by Visit Myrtle Beach, and man did I eat well when I was down there. With 60 miles of beaches and more than 2,000 restaurants, the beach, as it's often called, is now one of the major food destinations in the South. And that beach just keeps going. You can walk up and down the boardwalk. There's a ton of fun games to play. There's shops. There's a huge Ferris wheel. And then tons of options for waterfront dining. Super casual places where you can grab a beer and some fresh seafood. And there's really nice spots, a little more upscale, and everything in between. The Myrtle Beach food scene has it all. Eat fresh seafood with the ocean in view, peruse chef-driven menus, fill up on southern classics and traditional low-country favorites, fun spots with dinner shows, yard games, live music. Find something that works for you. From fresh acai bowls to down-home bowls of shrimp and grits. Myrtle Beach has something for everybody through bold flavors and diverse cultures. So let your flavor flag fly. Take a bite out of the beach. Plan a trip at visitmyrtlebeach.com. Welcome back to The Sporkful. I'm Dan Pashman. Hey, you want to watch me walking my dog while ranting about some food-related issue that has suddenly taken over my brain? You want to see what I'm cooking or eating these days? Best way to do that? Follow me on Instagram. Sometimes my kids make appearances. We have a ton of fun. In fact, this week, I'm going to be sharing a reel and some stories from Myrtle Beach so you can see what all this incredible food I'm talking about looks like. Follow me on Instagram at @TheSporkful. Again, that's @TheSporkful. Thanks. All right, let's get back to Myrtle Beach. Now, the city's got a main drag that's a block or 2 in from the beach, and as I drove it, I noticed a lot of pancake houses, which I love because I'm from New Jersey, so anything resembling a diner makes me feel at home. Myrtle Beach doesn't just have an international house of pancakes, it also has a pan-American pancake house. But I passed them both by because I had to get to Croissant's Bistro and Bakery, which is famous for their brunch. As soon as I walked in, I was hit with the smell of fresh coffee. Then I saw a glass case full of fresh-baked confections. The whole place is just awash in sunlight with those classic rattan French bistro-type chairs. Croissants is owned by Chef Heidi Frumkov, who also has a seafood restaurant next door called Hook and Barrel, where they source their fish fresh from Pawleys Island, just down the road. Heidi's got an artisanal ice cream place there, too.
I've been with Heidi since 2012.
Okay, so 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is Megan Fenwick, a manager at Croissants. Heidi was out of town when I visited.
Croissants itself is French and Southern inspired. So we try to bring in like new menu items like the croque madame or, new desserts, like taking a twist on the eclairs, adding new fun flavors to the menu and our bakery case out front.
Oh, that stuff in the case looked really good.
We have it positioned there for a reason, so tempting everybody as they walk into the restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, that was good.
How would you characterize the food scene in Myrtle Beach overall?
Over the past, even just 5 years, the restaurants are popping up left and right, really developing, the foodie scene. We've got Blueberries across the street, Uptown Bistro right down the road, Mimosas. But the cool thing is, we're all fueling each other to be better. There really isn't that sense of competition that you usually have in, big cities. There are plenty of tourists for everyone. It's just spurring us all to do better.
And Megan and Heidi are always up in their game.
We've got a coffee roaster on site, so we roast our own coffee that we import in. And it is an incredible cup of coffee.
I'm excited for that. Yeah. So you put a lot of thought into the coffee.
Oh, yeah. So she actually sent me to coffee school in Virginia, where we learned to roast coffee, came back here, taught a couple of my fellow coworkers. Right now we have this amazing Sumatra, and that's what we use for our espresso blend. And if you can't tell, I'm drinking a quad chai. It's amazing.
Yeah. Not every restaurant group has a person in your role who's research, who's developing stuff, who's going to coffee school.
Right.
That indicates to me an extra level of attention to detail.
Oh, we went to ice cream school too. Yeah, Hank and I.
The one in Pennsylvania?
No, there's one in High Point.
Okay.
The only places in Myrtle that's making their own ice cream next door. Try some of that too while you're here. We got you covered breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. There's an Ocean Boulevard flavor over there. That's a chocolate ganache ice cream with marshmallows, pretzels.
Oh.
And, yeah, you're not going to find that anywhere else in a giant tub from the store.
So it seems like Heidi is the kind of person who, if she decides that something that can be added to the menu, there's going to be a lot of work and research and detail involved in that process.
Oh, absolutely.
And now tell me in particular about this Bananas Foster French toast that I hear about.
The Banana Foster, we take our challah bread that we bake in-house right here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see them. Yeah. I can see them sprinkling salt over fresh dough as we speak.
Yeah. So they take our house-made lavash. We egg batter that like a typical French toast, and then we put a caramelized banana on top, and top it off with our Foster sauce, which is a rum caramel.
And do you actually light it on fire?
Yep.
I miss the days, they used to do Bananas Foster tableside in a lot of places.
Yeah.
What
Not the
gives?
amount of kids that we get in here. It's family friendly. We're not trying to set anybody on fire.
All right, fair enough. So, as I prepare to order, Meg,
yes,
definitely the Bananas Foster French toast.
Amazing.
Is there one or two more things I have to make sure I try?
The croque is a personal favorite.
That's the ham and cheese.
Oh, yeah. You got your single piece of bread that's the sourdough's made in-house with the sunny side up eggs on top. That's exquisite. But the shrimp and grits, yeah. That's that fresh shellfish that you're looking for,
Right.
So, and the grits are actually from Colombia. They're ad-lib grits as well. A couple hours down the road.
All right. Well, I think I'm ready to order, and I'm already going to plan to come back.
All right. Sounds like
I got the table outside on the porch, ordered a Bloody Mary to sip on while I waited. And in a little bit, my food arrived. The eggs on the croque madame were perfectly runny, and it came with house-made potato chips, which I will admit I'm a bit of a potato chip snob. I don't love most bad potato chips, but house-made potato chips in a restaurant, I love those. And these were outstanding, perfectly crispy, perfectly seasoned, just the right thickness, so they had a nice crunch. They weren't flimsy. 10 out of 10. And then the shrimp and grits, they do it with a pimento cheese grits, which has such a nice peppery flavor. And the shrimp are resting on fried green tomatoes, like lily pads floating on a lake of grits. And then, oh my god, the caramelized sugar on the banana and the Bananas Foster is like crunchy. It's like creme brulee style. Oh my goodness, I'm going in. Wow. This might be the best French toast I ever had. That Bananas Foster French toast will be with me for a very long time. I need to take a beat here just to relive that moment. My final